Hello, everybody, and welcome to 38 Weeks to Go, your weekly podcast about fantasy football. I am your host, Nash, and let's get into it. So, first of all, if I sound a bit funny, it's because I'm fighting through a cold. So, please forgive me. Game week 17 is done, and we have 21 weeks left to go. So, how was game week 21 for you? The average was 66. Did you beat it? I got 54. Not a great job. My only saving grace is that I had captained Haaland. Others would have failed miserably. And I almost didn't captain him. I really wanted to captain Thiago because I believed he would perform well. But now I have removed Thiago from my team because he is against me. It's what it feels like. So, how did the weekend go? So, it kicks off with Chelsea and Newcastle. A bunch of us were hoping for like a Chaloba clean sheet or Kukurea, Rhys James type clean sheet. But no, Voltemade had 2 goals in quick succession. And if you remember what happened last week, is that he was one of the most removed players. So for all of you who removed him, I am so sorry. Don't worry, but I'll be joining you because now that I've removed Thiago, he's going to perform next week. So, what else didn't happen? Bournemouth versus Burnley. A bunch of us expected a clean sheet. At least Semenyo scored, if you still have him. And then Brighton Sunderland, 0-0. That's where many clean sheets were made. But if you had the attacking options, it was a bit of a tough one. Man City versus West Ham. Haaland did his job. I know there were some clever people who tried to captain Mr. Phil Foden. That did not go according to plan. And then Shecky didn't even do anything. And so for those of us who were hoping for Foden to score in his 5th game in a row, that didn't quite go to plan. And on the other end, you have Calvert-Lewin, who did score for the 5th week in a row, which was a mess because many of us have a Crystal Palace defender. And if you're like me, you had 2. And so what happened? You get nothing. Calvert-Lewin has 2 goals. What a disaster. Then Arsenal versus Everton. Gyokeres scores when many of us don't have him. And it was a penalty, and then Saka gave him the penalty, and we're just screaming, why? Why did he do that? And then you have Spurs versus Liverpool. If you had Ekitike, that was good for you. Isak came on, scored, got injured. Frimpong got injured. It felt like everybody got injured for Liverpool in this game. It seems like they're going to be bare bones moving forward. Richarlison seems to be the best bet from Spurs still. And Romero is definitely a wild card. Xavi Simons got a bit of an unlucky red card. Oof, that was a tough one. Now, Brentford beat Wolves 2-0. Luis Potter scored the 2 goals. A disaster because we wanted them to be Thiago. Morgan Rogers did the business against Manchester United. And if you had Bruno, he got injured and subbed at halftime, which was very frustrating. If you were like me and you had Harry Wilson and Fernandes left, and then they both did nothing. So Aston Villa keep up their run. Morgan Rogers 2 goals. Then Fulham win 1-0. Raul Jimenez scores. Harry Wilson is a passenger, of course, after we've all brought him on. So yeah, that's what happened. Now, when it comes to the highest scoring game of the week, Leeds 4, Crystal Palace 1. This game, I don't know what happened. And if I'm the manager, if I'm Glasner, I'm feeling very dumb right now. Because I put in a weak squad midweek in Europe not to win, and then now you have to play a qualification game. And then you put in a weak squad so that you can be strong over the weekend, and then you lose 4-1 to Leeds. And then you play in the cup, and then you lose to Arsenal. So literally 3 L's in a row based on squad rotation. Like, he miscalculated everything. So anyway, in this game, Crystal Palace just didn't show up. There's just no other way to say this. They were not ready for what Leeds had for them. It's like they were playing Man City. You couldn't have known. If you watch this game, you wouldn't have known Leeds are not as good as they appeared to be. But it's like I said a couple of weeks ago, Thomas Frank, ever since he changed his formation, I think he's playing like a 5-3-2 or something like that. He has managed to solve a lot of the problems that Leeds had, and it has made them a much more difficult opponent to face. And this proof. And Calvert-Lewin has also stepped up at the right time. He had 2 goals. Ampadu had a good goal. Stark had a good goal. Devaney scored just to make it look competitive, but that was in the 90th minute. So it was a walkover of the highest endeavor. So Calvert-Lewin, of course, got the 3 bonus points. Ampadu had 2 and Stark had 1. Visual, Aronson, and Groove had the assist for Leeds, while Uche had the assist for Crystal Palace. And also, if you have time, check out Uche's goal that they scored in the Conference League. It was a really good goal. The marquee game was Liverpool versus Spurs, 2-1. Now, in this game, once Xavi Simons got the red card, it was like the game was over. Isak scored soon after that, after halftime. And then Ekitike scored again, a good header. Although in another situation, it could have been ruled out for pushing. And it was 2-0. Richarlison scored. But it never looked like getting away from Liverpool. And Spurs didn't even look like they were going to do much more than that. And then you have the hothead Argentine, Mr. Romero. Got the red card, and he's really, I don't know, he's quite a passionate guy. He needs a ref that's super lenient with him, or he needs to change. Frimpong and Wirtz had the assists for Liverpool, while Palhinha had the assist for Richarlison's goal. Wirtz, Ekitike, and Isak got the bonus points. But it has to be said, Isak got injured, Frimpong got injured. And so moving forward, at least Ekitike will start. So if you're wondering about that, now you can have him. But they're going to be bare bones, and they really need the winter window to open, because as crazy as it sounds, they need reinforcements. There is no real disappointment this game week. Maybe if you expected Bournemouth to beat Burnley, I guess I can see that. Or maybe if you expected more from Forest against Fulham, I can see that. But honestly, like Villa beating Man United isn't a surprise. Although I guess it is a surprise given their record against each other. But given the form that Villa are on, they've beaten everybody in the last 10 games. So this isn't a surprise. So I'm not going to do a most disappointing game. But maybe from a fantasy perspective, if you believe in Thiago, him not doing anything against Wolves was quite disappointing. But still, Brentford beat Wolves, so yeah. Let us look at the top performing players of the game week. Helaher had 13 points. He saved a penalty. Verbruggen had 11. Raya had 7. Leno, Donnarumma, Roofs all had 7. When it comes to defenders, Lewis Potter from Brentford, 21 points. As you can tell, he is a top performer this week. Hincapié, 10 points. Robinson, 10 points. It's been a while since we talked about Robinson from Fulham. It's good for him to be back. Hume, 10 points. Tete, Ballard, 9 points. When it comes to the top performing midfielders, Rodgers, 15 points. Ampadu, 15 points. Rice, 11 points. Semenyo, and Gordon, 10 points. It was so funny because you look at Rice's 11 points and it's like, how did he get there? But he did. When it comes to forwards, those people who had gambled on the Haaland Triple captain against West Ham were proven to be correct. He had 16 points. He was a top forward. Calvert-Lewin was a second best forward with 13 points. Tied with Voltemada. Ekitike had 9 points. And Broja had 7. Let's look at some stats from the weekend. Morgan Rogers has now gotten 6 goals and 3 assists in his last 12 Premier League games for Aston Villa. He's been involved in 9 goals during that time. And it also must be said, Aston Villa in great form, and they have now won 10 games in a row. Raul Jimenez scored the winner against Forest, which was a penalty. And he has a joint best 100% penalty conversion rate in the Premier League history, which is 11 for 11, along with Yaya Toure. Note that Cole Palmer isn't there. So, in case you're thinking of bringing in Morgan Rogers, let me tell you an interesting stat. It's too late for me, but Morgan Rogers has netted 7 goals from an XG total of just 2.86. With his plus 4.14 XG performance, meaning that he is overperforming. So, enjoy this run while it lasts. The last time I read out a stat like this, it was about Semenyo, and it was like a week or two before Gameweek 8. And then he went on a dry run. So, make hay while the sun shines. On his 292nd start for Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes was substituted at halftime for just the 3rd time in his career for Manchester United. Happened first in 2020 against Tottenham, and then Real Sociedad in 2021. Interesting. Morgan Rogers is the first Aston Villa player to score 2+ goals in back-to-back games, since Dion Dublin did it in 1998, and he did it 3 in a row. I'm going to hope that Morgan Rogers does it for the 3rd time in a row. Antoine Semenyo in 2025 is only the 2nd Ghanaian player to be involved in 20+ Premier League goals in a calendar year, 14 goals and 6 assists. The first one was Tony Yeboah in 95, who had 22 goals and 3 assists. If you like rubbish stats, here's one. Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Keane Lewis-Potter both scored braces. It was the first time in Premier League history for 2 players with hyphenated surnames to score more than once in a match in the same game week. All 4 of Leeds' goals against Crystal Palace came from set pieces. 2 throw-ins, 1 corner, 1 direct free kick. It's the most set-piece goal scored by a team in a single Premier League game since Everton versus Wolves last year. So, if you're an Arsenal fan, you may or may not like this stat. This is the 5th season that Arsenal will sit on top of the Premier League on Christmas Day. However, they have not gone on to win the title in any of those 4 seasons. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is the first Leeds player to score in 5 successive Premier League appearances since Mark Viduka did it in 2003. Xavi Simons got a red card, and it's the first time a Dutch player has been sent off for a foul on another Dutch player in the Premier League since 2001, when William Corsten got a red card for fouling Chelsea's Mario Melchiot. Wow, talk about throwbacks. Wolves have the joint fewest points ever by a side in their first 17 matches of a season in English League history, which is 2. Alongside Newport County in the 4th tier in 1970-71 and Sheffield United in the Premier League in 2020-21. Toothless. They're done. Erling Haaland has scored 19 goals. And these are the joint most any player has scored before Christmas in a Premier League season, level with Andy Cole in 93-94, Kevin Phillips in 99-2000, and Luis Suarez 2013-2014. If you don't have Haaland, I don't know what to tell you. Erling Haaland scored first to put Manchester City 1-0 up. And he has done this in 10 of the 17 Premier League games this season. No other player has scored the opener in more than 5 matches in the competition in this season. It's ridiculous, really. But his stats are unreal at this point. Chelsea were losing 2-0 and somehow clawed their way into a draw, despite trailing by more than 2 goals. And this is only the 4th time in their entire history that they have done this in the Premier League. Nick Voltemada is the 4th player to score twice within the opening 20 minutes of a Premier League game against Chelsea. After Robbie Fowler did it in 94, Paul Scholes did it in 95. I was wondering what was happening at that period in time. And Sergio Aguero did it in 2019. Declan Rice has created the most big chances of any Premier League player in all competitions this season, with 13. Lowest dribbled pass percentage for fullbacks in the Premier League this season, with an attempted 30 true tackle attempts. Jurrien Timber is beaten only 9% of the time. Reinildo, 11% of the time. Kayode, 13% of the time. Calafiori, 13% of the time. And Rhys James, 16% of the time. Doku is the first among all Premier League players for dribbles and touches in the open box and chances created in open play. So you can tell he's having a great season, even though it's a bit inconsistent, but much better than what we're used to from him. When it comes to most players brought in, Ekitike, 892,000 have brought him in. Makes sense. That's why I brought in when I moved Thiago. Morgan Rogers, second most brought in player, 696,000 have brought him in. That's what I did when I removed Bruno Fernandes. Calvert-Lewin, 300,000 have brought him in. Rice, 296,000. Cunha, 281,000. When it comes to players out, Bruno Fernandes, 103,000 players have removed him. No. 1 million managers have removed him. That is correct. 1 million managers have removed Bruno. Thiago, 704,000 have removed him. Pomo, 236,000. Eze, 225,000 have removed him. Mateta, 223,000 have removed him. And like I said earlier, Lewis Potter is player of the week. The most selected player this week was Haaland. Most captained was Haaland. Most vice-captained, Foden. Highest points this week, 148. As you guessed it, it involved a Haaland Triple captain, 48 points. Voltemada, 13 points. Bowen, 1. Reinders, 8. Rogers, 15. Gordon, 10. Semenyo, 10. Lewis Potter, who came in from the bench. Can you believe that? 21. Ruben Diaz, 6. Chaloba, 3. Kelleher, 13. You know, sometimes this guy had 2 players come off the bench to give him 29 points. I swear there's no formula to fantasy sometimes. When it comes to our table, Papi Chulo, manager of 254, is the top manager this week. Used his free hit to perfection to get 107 points. In goal, he had Petrovic, 2 points. Hincapie, 10 points. Stanesi, 4. Mateus Nunes, 8. Rice, 11. Semenyo, 10. Saka, 3. Rogers, 15. Foden, 3. Ekitike, 9. Haaland, 32 points. Perfect use of a free chip. And that gained him 107 points. Well done to you. Dennis Gaviga was number 2 with 102 points. Number 3 is King Kev, Farmer Champez, 101 points. And then 4th and 5th is a tie for 100 points between Escobar Season and a mad team managed by Control Alt Dele. On the other end, the lowest points this week is 24, and this honor belongs to Dennis Mutua, manager of Chulu Hills. In goal, 2 points from Pickford. Tarkowski 3, Timber 6, Malo Gusto -1, Benz 1, Veltman 1, Bruno Fernandes 1, Tonali 4, Hudson Odoi captain 4, Mateta 2, Awoniyi 1. No Haaland, big problems. Now, number 2 from the bottom, Melvin Kathrima, 29 points. Mozart J, 31 points. Mark Gyokeres, 34 points. And rounding up the bottom 5 in point tally this week is Kojo Danso with 36 points. When it comes to most points on the bench, number 1 is not somebody you're unfamiliar with. It is young Mullah Bebe Simnanijua. He seems to know how to choose his bench well. 25 points. Number 2, Mr. Tomi Oladipo, 23. Dennis Alubiri and Kevin Walker, 22 points on the bench. And Sir Chivini rounds up the top 5 with 20 points on the bench. Now, when looking at Leon's team, on the bench he had Dubravka, 2 points. Timber, 6 points. Thiago, 2 points. And third place on the bench, Morgan Rogers, for a powerful 15 points. Oh, and I feel bad for him. He captained Foden instead of Haaland. He just made the wrong calls this game week. When it comes to the team with the goal scorers, James Durango's team has 7 goals scored by his team. Team with the best midfield this week belongs to Joe Barraza, whose team had 43 points, his midfield. And John Mongemi had 36 points from his defenders. So, well done to you two. Keep it up. When it comes to the team with the most transfers this week, Mike's team, managed by Mike Mbogwa, 13. Kevin Walker, 11. Anthony Koila, 8. James Durango, 6. Dennis Odera, Ken Kimani, Don Clinton, 6. Now, when it comes to best transfer outcomes, Chris Masika, 30 points from the changes he made. Control Alt Dele, 30 points. Architect Sadiq Suleiman, 28. Luffy D, 25. Texas Tens, 22 points. Well done to you guys. Teach us your ways. On the other end of that, from the moves Mike Mbugwa made, as you had 11 transfers, he lost 32 points. Vitenya Bola, 32 points as well. Kevin Walker, 17. Mohammed Shine, -12. And number 5 is Army Chief, -11 points from the moves that they made. So sometimes doing nothing can work in your favor. So I just looked at my team value, and it's 104.5. The highest team value so far is Collins Kogi. His team is worth 106.2. That is ridiculous. Well done to you. Lowest team value this week belongs to Eddie Olan, 96.9. Highest change in team value belongs to LED, friend of the podcast, welcome. He has gained 1 million in his bank. Well done. Chris Masika's team value has dropped by 0.8. The biggest differential in our group this week was Morgan Rogers, who was owned by 15% of us. And then followed by Kelleher, who was chosen by just 4%, who gave 13 points, and Calvert-Lewin, who gave 13 points. Well done, guys, for making those moves. When it comes to captain choices, Haaland was captained by 142 of us. Foden was in second place, captained by 13 of us. Saka was captained by 8, Salah by 3, Mateta by 3, Palmer by 3, Thiago by 3. That could have been me. Wood by 2. João Pedro by 2. Voltemada, Gyokeres, Hudson-Odoi, Bruno, Grealish, Gakpo, Raul, Bomo, Rupichinia, Semenyo, Watkins, Cash, Rice, Odegaard, Gabriel, each captained by one manager. When it comes to our table, Arnold Midunga is still holding on to number 1. He has 1107 points. But number 2 has closed the gap to just 9. And that is Alan Mushangi, who has 1098. Jeffrey Jeremy has 1089. Los Poro Hermanos, 1088, number 4. Madagani Kihoro has 1075 in number 5. Number 6 is King Kev, 17, 101 points this week, 1073 points. Charlie's Reds, 1070. Franklin Asiema, 1069. Legend Killer AFC, 1066. And in number 10, we have LED, 1063. Now, from 1107 to 1007? That is number 26. So last week it was 22. So people have improved a bit. So number 26 has 1009, and that is Aboki Jr., who had done well a couple of weeks ago, if you remember. Now, at the bottom of the table, we have Mark Moura, who has 293 points. He joined late, so it could be a miracle. Don Clinton, 193, 512. Mike's team, who makes all the transfers now, like Don Clinton, 656 points. Team Modera, 662 points. And Muranga Manyara, 676 points. And that's the bottom 5. So it's over 600 points from the second bottom to the top. That's wild. As I am recording this podcast, it is Christmas. There is only one fixture tomorrow. So make your teams, because Christmas is going to be heavy. I know even this podcast might not even be listened to, but I'm just making it for consistency and to prove my commitment to the project. So actually, from this point on, I'm not going to go in depth and do like the FPL FDR. I'm just going to say the game week starts tomorrow, and so you should make your teams. I'm just going to give you possible captains. Now, Manchester United are taking on Newcastle. Voltemada is the easiest captain choice in this fixture, and Matheus Cunha. Forest are playing Manchester City. Haaland and Foden are great captain choices. Arsenal are playing Brighton. It's tough. I would say go for a defender. Brentford are playing Bournemouth. Semenyo has scored 2 weeks in a row. Why not make it 3? Everton versus Burnley. This will be a tight one. I expect Everton to win, but like 1-0. So maybe have defenders from there. Liverpool are playing Wolves. A Kitike captain choice would be great. And if you want to gamble with like a McAllister or like a Zoboslai, I wouldn't do it. Ekitike is the best bet for captaincy. West Ham versus Fulham. This is open. You can see Bowen, Jimenez, and Mr. Wilson doing magic. Chelsea versus Aston Villa. Oof. Morgan Rogers, Pedro Neto, Cole Palmer. Sunderland versus Leeds. Dominic Calvert-Lewin should be your top contender for this one if you're choosing a captain from this fixture. Crystal Palace versus Spurs. Richarlison can score. Mateta, Yeremi Pino. Yep, and those are the captain choices I can think of. So I hope you're all well. Merry Christmas. Thank you for bearing with me. The next podcast, of course, will be longer. Have a great break. Bye.